All
So
right,
just click.
welcome. Yeah,
Thank you, Mark.
welcome. Dave Sherman. Glad glad you could be here and we can talk about some of this. The subject of UFO disclosures come up a lot lately. Uh, Probably a lot circling around this, I think, June 25th deadline that there's some 180 day for the military to release all of these files. So I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure that's why we've been hearing a lot about it. But I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about just our experience with starting with the UFO disclosure through the citizens hearing on disclosure back in
Right. That
20.
dates back to the Sundance Film Festival when Dr. Edgar Mitchell, Rubin,
Yeah,
and Stephen Beck were doing and there was one other individual, but we're doing
Jeremy Corbell was the other one on the
okay.
table there. He had just been hired, I think.
Okay. Yeah, it was very interesting. I remember you inviting me to that, and I've always maintained an interest in the subject. I've always been skeptical that we are the only intelligent form of life, and I think that might be egomaniacal for us to think that we're the most intelligent form of life in the universe, or the only
Mhm.
what we consider intelligent. Sometimes brought into question. Anyway,
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree. And I myself had no real interest in that. I saw when I was really small kid, I saw something sort of metal looking in the sky with my buddy, but that was it. It just stood up there for a half hour, went in to grab a camera. My stepdad had this old Canon AE1, I think, but uh, came out and it was gone. So other than that, that was it. It didn't change my life much. It wasn't any kind of longing to find out the truth. There's lots of stuff in the sky. But anyway, yeah, and you know me, I had been in the music
You're
business
kind of
and
fading in and out a little bit.
oh yeah, gotcha. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Um, well, yeah, I had already been in the music business, and you and I had first connected at Sundance Film Festival. I had always been doing these events, charity events, benefit concerts there, and I loved how our relationship started just through doing all these events at Sundance and stuff. So when I approached you to talk to you about this something coming up around this topic of UFOs. What did you think? Oh, you're muted there, Dave. Oh, click your mute button.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost you there for a minute. I think the connection was a little bit fuzzy,
Oh, got it.
but in any event, the question is
Well, so getting to know me through doing all these
always a lot
uh,
of questions, but
benefit concerts
I'm
and
kind of
whatnot in Sundance over the years. What did
yeah.
you feel when I approached you with doing this event and coming to this event, checking it out around UFOs?
The citizen hearing you're talking about, or the Sundance
Yeah, when I
press
first,
conference?
well, when I
I
first approached this idea to come and check out this press conference, what was your initial thoughts? Did you think I was nuts?
I didn't think you were nuts. I thought it was fascinating. The whole idea. I try to consider myself an open-minded individual, and so in consistent with that, I figured let's go see what they have to say,
Mhm.
and that was pretty much it. I didn't think I don't think of people that believe in this stuff as the guy, people with tin
Yeah.
hats and psychological issues. I think I want to keep an open mind to the idea that anything is possible. Always.
Yeah.
So it was fascinating though, and it really piqued my interest in pursuing things further. Hearing Dr. Edgar Mitchell was on. I'm not sure which Apollo was. He Apollo 11
Apollo
or 12 or
14. Yeah,
14?
14.
Okay. I mean, to hear from an good head on his shoulder to relate things to the rest of us and to be able to do what they do gave it more credibility.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So I thought it was fascinating, and I hope whatever the truth is, I hope it eventually comes out and is stark, even though certain people might have their noses out of joint about it and such. I think there's the whole situation with these Navy pilots being given more credibility to come out and speak
Yeah.
is a step in the right direction of finding the truth of the matter.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And certainly the citizen here, you were heavily, was a great thing. I enjoyed chatting with Senator Mike Gravel. That was very interesting to see a gentleman of that stature on this panel that was digging toward that truth. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh yeah,
so there's a little bit of my thoughts.
Yeah, so let's fast forward to the citizen hearing itself. Well, just a little bit on that. First, we did this press conference really just to gear up, get something out there in the way of news that we could pass on. And in your background as a freelance photographer, and I know you had Image Stockhouse was your like Getty Images competitor.
I have Image Stockhouse.
And I know
simply provide this for editorial.
Yeah, and I really like that. We've done so much together over the years, and you were always, between Splash Media and then doing freelance work for New York Times. You're always the guy. You and Scott Klepper seemed to always be the two in Sundance every year, and that was pretty much where all the pictures came from. Just to give somebody else or everybody else that listens to some sort of context, and I thought you were really important. Both of us were in the same camp of no experience on this UFO topic, but got brought in because people we knew were right in the middle of this, and names like Edgar Mitchell started popping up and it's like, wow, yeah, I got to see what this guy's all about. So I thought it would be useful to have you there in the hopes that we could get some interest and get, some sort of, connection to media that could be there to take pictures and get the word out there. So, and you proved to be quite helpful on that. And why don't you just sort of tell the story of once we actually got there in DC at the citizen hearing, what was your role and how'd you see day by day this thing roll out, and in some of your thoughts of what was going on then? I mean, my mind was blown, but I'm just curious to what you thought and some of the highlights.
My initial, there were a lot of people with a lot of credibility ready to put that credibility online. People, former, the way I saw it, I hope we're still good here. Okay, the way I saw it was there were a lot of people with a lot of credibility ready to put that credibility on the line in a formal hearing, and I found that fascinating. People like the former Secretary of Defense in Canada.
Hellier,
and people that were former Navy pilots, former Air Force pilots, up to the level, I believe, of colonel. There were people that were in serious positions ready to put their credibility on the line to say, hey, we saw things and we're being squelched. And it was an attempt to pull the curtain back on certain events that might not have been so comfortable for people who wanted those events to remain quiet. Anyway, I was fascinated by that and by the level of people on the panel, and so I wanted to do everything within my power I was taking some images at the event, and so I used my status as a freelance contractor photographer for the New York Times to contact people at the Washington office and bring in a reporter who eventually did a story about the hearings, which was nice. It was to see and an attempt to pull back the cloak of secrecy on this whole matter. Any thoughts there? Or
yeah, for sure. And I just, having done a lot of events in the past, and trying to get press for different various things, mostly entertainment related, that I dealt with at that point in my life. Uh, I know it was hard to get ink on anything really, much less the New York Times. And what was
Yeah.
important with this is it's always been this, the paper of record, and it's not truth unless it's in there. And in a lot of people's minds, it's still the case. And so I think a lot of people, you know, you can't uh, deny the effect of the New York Times not writing anything on the UFO subject since after Roswell, only like a couple articles that were just
Yeah.
something was seen in the sky. And so, oh, they come out and dispel that. But the last one I could find was 57. So when we were first talking with
Mhm.
um, Steve Bassett specifically about this, and I really thought maybe we could get it in there if we had somebody like you in the room, and how important that was to get it in the Times. And I remember Steve saying, "Mark, this is not going in the Times." They haven't done an article on that. That would be impossible. Yeah. And they're not going to write anything on this, and that was just the general tone about everybody in that. And so I'm so glad to be there from the beginnings, and to have you in the room at that Sundance press conference was wonderful. But then to see how it played out, like the day one, it was just me and you on that Monday sitting in the whole big media section with all the empty tables. And I remember at some point, somebody caught wind that, oh, there was some photographer that was, shooting photos for the New York Times there. What's going on? And so it's funny that before, Andrew, I think Siddons, was it Sidens or Siddons, who ended up writing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the pronunciation. Yeah, Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. He gave it a fair hearing, and I felt fair treatment within the article that eventually came out, which was exciting to see that night. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really great. But just looking from my objective anyway, I could see how just you being there that Monday helped to kick off everybody else, because that Tuesday I think Reuters showed up and somebody from Yahoo News, and by that Wednesday it was quite a handful. But by Friday it was something like 77 press impressions, and we were still waiting on bated breath. We didn't know what would be the result of Andrew in his work. But then why don't you recollect your thoughts about that Friday, especially?
You mean in terms of the numbers of other members of the press showing up,
Well, yeah,
or
that, and then
yeah, when they
finally,
initially showed
just
up?
that whole day, and then leading up to, I think it was midnight on that Friday night. The joy in the room.
Yeah, it's yeah. As soon as that got published, there was quite an open outcry of joy among the people. My initial impressions were, wow, I'm glad these people got a hearing and aren't just being written off as a bunch of nutcases. Uh, it's just simply not the case. It's there's real tangible stuff going on, and it seems like there are real tangible cover-ups going up of facts. I mean, to consider the fact that finally an organization like 60 Minutes was up on the air with a segment from former and current Navy pilots testifying that they're seeing some weird stuff going on that they cannot explain. I thought it was my reaction was joy to for there to be recognition and credibility given to testimony for people that were putting their good names on the line in trying to pull the cloak back from this whole subject. And hopefully more of it comes out as we enter the latter part of June, and there are pressures being brought to bear upon the military and by whatever covert cover-ups are going on of facts
Mhm.
that some people might find disturbing.
Yeah.
I think it's better to be disturbed and know the truth than to not be and not search for it.
Hmm. It's something that just
Uh,
came up too that, I thought it would be good to mention anyway. And I don't know the whole story. And so maybe you'd be good, but I know David Carr, who has since passed away, had something to do with that article finally,
Yes.
getting published. And can you tell us a little bit about that? What was that connection with David Carr in getting this published? I think I might have lost your connection. Are you still there, Dave? Oh, I lost your stream for just a second. Can you hit your mute button again? Yeah, try that mute button. You're muted again.
Okay. My mute button is off. Sorry about that.
Oh, yeah, there
But
you go.
yeah, kind of lost a connection there.
Yeah, so I'll just start back from the top of
Anyway,
that
yeah.
question then. Um, yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about what was David Carr's role? I know he's since passed away, but what was I know
Yeah.
David Carr, but I don't know really the whole story, but maybe you can just fill us in on his
Well, David
involvement.
Carr is a reporter for the Times. He had some substance issues years ago, and had since cleaned up his issues. But he would be at Sundance, and I was paired up with him at times to do some photographing of different events. But he was a writer, and he just basically covered Sundance for the New York Times for a number of years prior to his demise. That's anyway, mostly more on the reviewing of films and of Sundance. All kinds of things go on inside at Sundance, as we both know. I mean,
Yeah,
parties
yeah,
where Sting is singing Roxanne in the middle of a living room up Deer
yeah,
Valley to
yeah,
the premieres and the panel discussions of directors and actors in the movies.
yeah. So many good times there, huh?
Yes, definitely.
And yeah, as it would turn out, we ended up doing a lot of things happened through that house over the years too. We had some really interesting characters that
Yeah.
a lot of business done. So it was
There
fun
was
times.
the house up Kimball Junction.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You're talking about in Kimball Junction,
Yes, yes,
above
Kimball Junction.
Kimball Junction there.
Yeah, that was fun.
All right,
So many
right.
good times. Well,
Good times for sure.
yeah, and I'm
A lot of very interesting times.
yeah, and I'm just so glad that I've got somebody close that we've stayed in touch for so many years before, during, and after all this UFO stuff. But having somebody that's always been a voice of reason and who's skeptical about a lot of things, but an open mind yet. And so, and I just wanted to make sure that to get stuff out there about how that really came to be, because it was really miraculous how that played
Yeah.
out, and just the odds of that getting into the Times it's not an easy thing to do with any paper, but
No, it's not.
particularly with that topic.
Ironically, that's another Sundance contact that was just kind of calling just now. Heaven or Stone Street Burke.
Oh,
But yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
speaking of
Heather's great.
yeah. Anyway, that yeah, it was good. It was it was almost serendipitous. I mean, the way things worked out. I think maybe there are forces out there that really want the truth to come out, and
Mhm.
whatever. I felt like just a means to an end to try to get the truth out there.
Yeah,
See that
yeah.
things work. And it'll be fascinating, as I say. I think it's going to be fascinating to see what happens over the next few weeks and month. in regards to what information. Indeed, the purpose of the citizen hearings was to try to get the government to open up about stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's a very delicate subject. And there's a lot of people that are very closed-minded. They're thinking it's a bunch of kooks out there. I don't know. I don't consider myself a kook. I consider myself somebody who wants to try to find the truth of the matter. And I feel that those citizen hearings were in means to an end. And,
Yeah, I
we'll
mean,
see if the government opens up based on the order within that legislation that was passed.
yeah, and it seems like in a way,
Anyway, that's
we had disclosure, to some degree. I mean, what would disclosure
yeah.
look like? Sharing the truth in front of and digging on the truth in front of a bunch of congressmen and women, right? And
Yep.
so,
Senator, Congressman, yep,
yeah,
Congresswomen,
and I
yep.
think the more I dig into all the topics that were discussed, they were all bulletproof. And I really appreciated that. I appreciated
Yeah.
Joe Bookman's digging through,
Moderation.
afterwards, not just the moderating during, but his work since then, going through word by word and affirming like every single word of the 30 hours of testimony, and going through some discrepancies. And he did found some discrepancies that to clean up, that he went through. And so he did a really spectacular job too, and another one of those names that deserves to be mentioned more, because he was so instrumental in getting the congressman and Senator Gravel on board with this, and did just a spectacular job, as did Danny Sheehan, of moderating the whole event. But I think I know he's done so much work on the other side, but it's another name I wanted to mention. But more than anything, the whole reason for me wanting to interview about this was because I think people should know the name of Dave Sherman when they talk about this, because you were the linchpin in making this from a fake event, as Rachel Maddow said 6 times, to New York Times stamp of approval. And it wouldn't have happened, as we know, without your diligence and
I
making
appreciate
those
that,
connections. So
and
yeah,
I'm happy to have helped. I'm
yeah. And I know
one of the
you
most
only
fascinating
go
just for
ahead.
me. What one of the more fascinating is the guy was a former member of the CIA. There's a guy who was dying of cancer, but wanted the truth to be on the record, wanted to be things to be on the record, and really gave quite some revelations that were fascinating. I've forgotten the gentleman's name. I believe he has since passed away, but it sounded like he was in a position to know facts. And
Yeah.
I would like to know more about that. It was just on the screen, but he was clearly putting himself out on.
Yeah,
It was interesting.
that was quite interesting. And that was
He
Nick Pope, that Nick Pope got to
time
interview him.
Stuff about regarding the government officials' reaction.
Yeah, it was really
Right.
amazing stuff. Great
That's it.
interview that was.
Anyway,
Well, anyway, I know you only had a
yes.
half-hour time to talk today,
Okay.
so I really do appreciate that, and I'm glad we could get some of the stuff on the record, and just enjoying, remembering some of these moments at the citizen hearing before and during, and to seeing what it's become now, and seeing a lot of our friends and people that we worked with there that week that are now on the news again, and all over the place. It's good to see their faces again. But anyway, we'll see. This should be a great movie coming in the next weeks, and thanks again for being a part of this. I really appreciate all your help.
I thank you for the acknowledgement.
Yeah. Thanks for helping getting the truth out there.
Thank you, Mark, and been an honor to be interviewed by.
All right.
That's really what the goal should be for everybody.
Yep.
Anyway.
Well, hey, take care. We'll talk soon, I'm sure. And
okay.
Bye for now.
So long. Thank you.